You've worked your entire life to build something meaningful, something you can leave for your family. But what if the plan you have in place is actually full of traps? Well, today we're going to pull back the curtain on trusts, one of the absolute best ways to make sure your legacy is protected for the people you care about most. Let's jump right in.
So let's just start with the most important question of all. What happens to everything you've earned after you're gone? You probably think, I've got a will, I'm all set. But is a simple will really enough to guarantee a smooth ride for your loved ones?
Well, the reality is it can get messy, fast. Inheritance can spark some serious headaches, right? We're talking about family arguments over who gets what, or the scary thought of young kids getting a huge amount of money before they're mature enough to handle it. And then there's the big one, probate. That's the court process to validate a will, and let me tell you, it's famous for being slow, super expensive, and this is a biggie, it makes all your financial details a public record. Yeah, anyone can look it up. These are exactly the problems a trust is built to avoid.
So how are we going to tackle this? Simple. First, we'll nail down what a trust actually is. Then we'll see one in action with a real-world example. After that, we'll check out the different types you can choose from. And finally, we'll weigh the good against the bad so you can figure out if it's the right move for you.
All right, so first things first. What in the world is a trust?
Okay, so here's the official textbook definition. A trust is a legal arrangement where a third party, called the trustee, holds assets for someone else, who we call the beneficiary. It's basically a legally enforced promise. But let's be real, that sounds kind of dry, doesn't it? So let's make it way simpler. Just think of a trust as a special box. It's a box that's protected by the full force of the law. You get to put all your valuable stuff inside this box, and most importantly, you get to write the rule book for it. Now, for this box to work, you need 3 key players on the field. First up is the grantor. That's you. You create the box, you put the assets in, and you write the rules. Second, you've got the trustee. This is the manager, the person legally obligated to follow your rules and protect the box. And third, there's the beneficiary. That's the person who gets all the good stuff from the box according to your rules. That's it. Grantor, trustee, beneficiary. Simple as that. Okay, theory is one thing, but what does this actually look like in the real world? To see a trust in action, let's follow the story of a woman named Alice. So this is Alice. She's a single mom who's worked incredibly hard. She's got a house, some savings, even a small business. But her number one goal in life, it's making absolutely sure that her young son is taken care of no matter what happens to her. So here's her game plan. Alice, acting as the grantor, creates her special box, the trust. She then transfers her assets, the house, the savings, the business, into it. For the manager, the trustee, she hires a professional company to make sure it's all handled correctly. And, of course, her son is named as the one and only beneficiary. See? All 3 roles perfectly filled. And this is where the real power of a trust kicks in. Alice gets to set very specific rules. She writes down instructions like, use the money for my son's school fees, but then give him everything else that's left when he turns 20. The trustee is legally required to follow those instructions perfectly. This rulebook is the beating heart of the trust. Now that we see how it works, it's really important to get this. Trusts are not one size fits all. You can get different kinds of boxes, each designed for a different goal. The first and maybe the biggest difference comes down to one word, control. On one hand, you have a revocable trust. It's flexible. You can change it, add to it, even cancel it entirely if you change your mind. On the other hand, you have an irrevocable trust. And it's just what it sounds like. It's permanent. Once you put assets in, it's incredibly difficult to take them out. So why on earth would anyone choose that? Well, while both types skip probate, the irrevocable trust offers some serious perks, like powerful protection from creditors and some major tax benefits. The other key factor is timing. A living trust is set up while you're alive and kicking. A testamentary trust, however, is actually written into your will and only springs to life after you pass away. Now here's the kicker. Because it's part of a will, a testamentary trust has to go through probate court. That means it isn't private and the whole process takes a lot longer. So let's just pull all that together into a quick cheat sheet. A revocable living trust is active now, you can change it, and it avoids probate. Yes, yes, and yes. An irrevocable living trust is also active now and avoids probate, but nope, you can't change it. And finally, a testamentary trust only activates after death, can't be changed, and does not avoid probate. Okay, with all these options on the table, it really boils down to one massive question. When you weigh all the pros and cons, is a trust actually the right move for you?
Let's start with the good stuff, because the benefits are pretty huge. Number 1, you skip probate. That saves a ton of time, a ton of money, and keeps your family's business private. You get incredible control over how your money is used long after you're gone. Plus, trusts offer amazing asset protection, can save you a bundle on taxes, and are absolutely essential for things like special needs planning. To really wrap your head around that asset protection point, let's go back to Alice's story for a second. Let's fast forward a few years. Imagine her son, unfortunately, develops a serious gambling problem, and now he's drowning in debt. Now his creditors are coming after him, trying to collect. But here's the thing, they can't touch the house. Why? Because legally, her son doesn't own it. The trust owns it. The trust acts like a legal firewall, protecting his inheritance from his own bad decisions, which is exactly what Alice wanted all those years ago.
Of course, it's not a perfect magic wand. There are some real downsides to consider. First, fees. Trustees and trust companies charge for their services, usually around 1 to 2% of the assets every single year. Then there's the loss of control. If you choose an irrevocable trust, you are giving up the right to change your mind later. And finally, they can be complex to set up. You'll almost certainly need to hire a lawyer, and that costs money. So at the end of the day, it's really a trade-off. You're balancing control, protection, privacy, and cost. A trust is an incredibly powerful tool. It's that special box designed to carry your legacy safely into the future, exactly on your terms. So the only real question left is, what rules are you going to write for your box?